Thanks for joining me. My name's Mark Westhead. I'm a naturopath, and today I want to talk about how to handle panic attacks. So what does a panic attack feel like? Well, it's an intense wave of fear that involves unexpected and debilitating sensations. They can appear out of nowhere and they can strike without warning and often without an obvious trigger. Many people experience just a one-off panic attack, but others experience them quite frequently. So what does it actually feel like? When you suffer a panic attack, you may experience shortness of breath, racing heart, chest pain, sweating, trembling, feeling dizzy or lightheaded or faint, and you may feel nauseous. You might think that you're experiencing a heart attack. So at this point, I just want to stress that if you've never experienced a panic attack before, and then all of a sudden you get all of these sensations, it's important that you get yourself to the hospital as quick as possible. Call an ambulance or get a friend to drive you to the emergency department, and the medical team there will run a battery of tests on your heart and other tests, blood sugar tests, that kind of thing. And if they come back to you and say all of your tests are negative, and it's quite likely you didn't have a heart attack, but you may have experienced a panic attack. So the good thing there is you've had yourself checked out and you know that you don't have a heart problem. It was a panic attack. So let's just have a look at the human brain. Imagine that there are two parts to the brain. There's the rational human brain, and beneath that is the primal animal brain. So what does the animal brain do? It scans the environment looking for danger. It's really got two functions. It looks for danger, but it also looks for safety. It looks for people like you, creatures like you, who can provide a safe environment. This part of the brain doesn't deal in words, it deals in senses. So the sense of sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. It does have a memory though, and it remembers pretty much everything throughout your life that you perceived as a threat or a danger, and it correlates those past dangers with pretty much everything that you do throughout the day. It can perceive a garden hose as being a possible snake, or a movement in the bush as a possible tiger or some sort of predatory creature that wants to pounce on you. And it elicits a response in the body. It's a sympathetic nervous system activation where chemical hormones are released from the adrenal glands on top of your kidneys. And those chemical messages are things like adrenaline and cortisol. And this is important because the reason for these are excitatory hormones, and the reason for them is to get your breathing to become rapid so that you can really suck in the oxygen into your lungs, and to get your heart beating faster so that it can pump that oxygen-rich blood throughout the body into the muscles and into the brain. And so it activates the fight or flight response. And as we mentioned earlier, it can cause things to happen in the body like the rapid breathing, the rapid heart rate, the sweating and shaking. It's a perfectly normal response to danger. It happens to all mammals. And it makes us fearful. And that's actually quite important because it makes us alert to danger. So the rational brain does deal in language. It deals in, well, pretty much whatever language you speak. And it's constantly trying to rationalize pretty much everything all of the time. It's always trying to find context and meaning to situations, even to things that don't really require context or meaning. When you have a panic attack, and it seems to come from nowhere, but it's likely attached to the animal part of the brain, remembering something from your past, some sort of a past danger. When a panic attack occurs, our rational brain notices the physical symptoms in the body, and it focuses on those physical symptoms. And it starts to ask questions like, what's going on? What's happening? Why is my heart racing? Am I having a heart attack? Am I going to die? And the same questions are asked of each physical symptom that you experience. And those symptoms can vary greatly from person to person. As we rationalize the symptoms, we create more and more anxiety about each symptom in a cycle that spins out of control. Our rational brain becomes irrational and panic sets in. When a panic attack happens, it's important to understand that there's a perfectly normal physiological response that the body is going through, that sympathetic nervous system activated fight or flight response. Don't worry about why it's happening, just accept that it is happening. Don't focus on the symptoms, just acknowledge that they're there. It's important to understand that it's not going to kill you. It's just a physical symptom from the animal brain, and it will pass. If you suffer from regular panic attacks, it can take a few months to overcome them, but it can be done. Self-talk is the key here. When a panic attack occurs, firstly, acknowledge them and tell yourself that you understand what's happening. Reassure yourself that you're going to be okay. I've scoured the literature and I can tell you that no one's ever died from a panic attack. You are safe and it will eventually go away. Keep telling yourself that it's just a symptom of anxiety. It can't hurt you and there's no need to be afraid. Something in the deep, dark recesses of your animal brain has reminded you of a perceived threat, but it's not real and it can't harm you. And the animal brain can't tell the difference between an imagined or a real threat, but regardless, it still triggers an alarm reaction. Just keep telling yourself that you're safe and it will pass. When you have the knowledge of how panic attacks work and understand what's happening in your physical body, you can gain the upper hand. Rather than being accosted by panic, you can talk it down and disarm it. Be mindful to use soothing, reassuring words and talk yourself through it. And when you do this, the less intense the attacks will be, and eventually they will become less and less frequent. It's also a good idea to use deep breathing to help release the panic. Box breathing is great. Breathe in through the nose for 4 seconds, hold the breath for 4 seconds, and then breathe out through the mouth to the count of 8. It's important to breathe out through the mouth. If you can't breathe out to the count of 8, then breathe out for 4 seconds for the first one, and then for 6 seconds for the next breath, and then eventually to 8 seconds. Don't do it too frequently though, because you don't want to hyperventilate and make yourself even more confused and uncomfortable. Focus on the out breath as you release the fear and panic. After several breaths, take a deep sigh. Now, this is important. Studies have shown that there's a link between sighing and deep emotions. And you've probably noticed that, when distressed children, distressed infants stop crying, they take a deep sigh. And the sigh signals to the brain that the event has ended. So try this when you experience a panic attack, and remember now that you have the upper hand and you can eventually banish them. So that information that I've just provided is available for free in an ebook that I've written called Instant Calmer, 25 Hacks to Reduce Stress and Anxiety, backed by science. If you'd like to get a free copy of Instant Calmer, just go to my website, Naturopath.com, and get yourself a free copy. If you've enjoyed the information in this video, please like and share with your friends. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can do so through my website, Westhead.com, or you can contact me on Facebook or Instagram. And keep an eye out for some forthcoming videos also on aspects of anxiety, but there'll be other health videos on gut health and other things as well. So until next time, good health.